Welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the show. I'm glad you can make it here today, back on this Wellness and Weight Loss Wednesday show, where the topic of the day is, should you be fasting during stressful times? So this is a topic that came about because many people have written in saying, is this the best time to be doing a seasonal detox? Is this the best time to be doing a longer intermittent fast? So what I want to do is answer those questions today openly and honestly, give you the pros and cons, and then of course allow you to decide what you feel is best for your overall health and of course body transformation if that's something that you're working on right now. So whenever a question like this comes up, there's never a black and white answer. However, there is always an answer, and then there's an answer that can be used based on your own bioindividuality. And whenever I use the term bioindividuality, I mean that you as an individual have your own unique needs. It's the same reason why some people can eat 150, 200 grams of carbs a day, where other people do better around maybe 75 carbs per day, right? Half as much. And the reason is simply this, is that although we are all humans, we have the same, for the most part, digestive-based function and hormonal-based function. Men and women, there's obviously some variation. But what we talk about is there's still an individuality within the greater scope of things. So although we know how the stomach produces stomach acid and it mixes with digestive enzymes from the food, and then the bile is released as the food moves through the first part of the duodenum in the small intestine. So we know that's how the body functions. However, some people produce more stomach acid than other people. Some people produce more hormones than other people. And so it goes on and on. So the recommendations never specifically change. And I like to always share that with you because, so for example, we do a protocol called the CBO protocol to help people heal their gut, heal their digestion. There's no doubt about it. It works great. But within that, if they're working with their health coach, there can be some tweaking to the program. Meaning like maybe we take out a certain food group. Maybe they don't do well with legumes or beans. Okay, it doesn't mean that they'll never do well with it, but certainly for the next 6 to 12 weeks, we might want to eliminate those as we're improving overall digestion and also rebalancing the gut microbiome so that there's less bacteria there that may be fermenting the fructans inside of those legumes. So again, it's one plan, but sometimes it needs to be just tweaked slightly for the individual. And that same thing goes for fasting. Almost every human alive should be fasting for about 12 hours overnight. Now, some need less, and I've talked about who needs less before, so that's really not going to be today's show topic. Today's show topic is, should you be fasting during stressful times? Now, the people who need less of a fast are going to be those people dealing with HPA axis or adrenal-based issues. And those people typically fall into more of a hypoglycemic, which is a low blood sugar-based state, where during the middle of the night, they wake up from low blood sugar, they end up waking up sweating or accelerated heart rate, panic, etc. And again, all of these things can be tested for at home with a simple glucometer to test your blood sugar. You don't need a doctor's note for that. You can purchase it at any local drugstore or on Amazon, or simply go to stephencabral.com/podcasts and type in glucometer, and you'll find a link on one of the shows to one of the recommended companies that I use. So that's fairly straightforward to test. But remember, if you have HPA axis issues like I used to, or adrenal issues, well, you'll correct those. And when you do, you'll be able to get to your 12 hours fasting a night. And again, most people should be fasting 3 to 4 hours before bed. Now, I know many of us are used to having a snack before bed or whatever it might be. I can tell you that it's not one of the worst things, but it's up there. It really is up there in terms of your overall health. You should not be eating before bed. Eating before bed begins to then turn back on the stomach-based digestion, divert energy towards digestion. You also you have partially digested food in your stomach as well as your intestines. So it's not enabling you to eat stop eating for 4 or 5 hours or so, and then eat again. So what we want to do is we want to stop that because it's also affecting our deep sleep at night. Many people. I've done many experiments myself, private clients as well. If I drink alcohol before bed, my heart rate variability and my deep sleep is typically less. And even if I feel like I'm getting the same amount of hours, the actual restfulness and rejuvenation is less. Well, it can be the same for some people eating before bed as well. Some people, the sweet spot is 3 hours before bed, other people 4 hours before bed, okay? So I'll let you examine what exactly works best for you. Now, if we do 3 hours, 4 hours before bed, and let's say our bedtime is 10 o'clock, let's just use easy math. It's easier for me on the show. So that means we're going to stop eating somewhere around 6 or 7 o'clock at night. Really simply put, then most people should fast the next day until 6 a.m., 7 a.m. Basically, whenever you stopped at night, just go to that time in the a.m. the next day. So 6 p.m., 6 a.m., 7 p.m., 7 a.m. It's the absolute easiest and simplest way to figure out, okay, that's how I got my 12 hours. So if you want to eat breakfast, definitely stop eating earlier at night. But the other thing is this, is you can't say, okay, well, I'm going to eat an hour before bed at 9 p.m. and then I just won't eat till 9 a.m. It doesn't work that way. That's not how the human body was built. You don't get to kind of make up the things that you want. The human body was meant to stop eating, and it would have when it's pitch black outside. I mean, when the sun is down, we would not be sitting around eating. It's just, that's not the case. That is a modern based thing. You would be waking up with the lights and you'd be going to bed with the dark. And again, anybody who disagrees with that, I recommend the challenge of saying, okay, no shades in the room, no blinds, anything like that. You're going to wake up with the sun. Or even better, go camp outside, and trust me, within 2 to 3 weeks, you will reset that circadian rhythm because you will be tired after a few days and you'll be wanting to go to bed a couple hours after sunset for sure. And you're not going to be eating in the dark. Trust me on that one. So that is a natural human circadian rhythm, and our digestive system works with that as well. Okay, so that's that on the basics. Again, I have many podcasts. I would love you to go to stephencabral.com/podcast and just start to immerse yourself in the daily show. Go back, start to listen to the shows. I'm going to be giving you a bunch of shows to go back to today. But really, every week, we're just trying to build off of these principles. And the reason is that none of this is taught in school. We have many naturopathic doctors listen to this. We have many integrative health practitioners, which is amazing. But much of this is not taught in school. You learn the foundation, which is what you need to learn. And then as you become a practitioner, and also when you begin to learn from other practitioners, you learn the nuances. You learn how to be truly integrative because they're not teaching Ayurvedic medicine in school unless you go to school for your graduate degree in India, right? So you have to learn it somehow. Same with TCM, traditional Chinese medicine. Same for bioregulatory medicine. So these things you all need to learn after your studies are done. So after you meaning like if you're a health practitioner, your studies are never done, right? You should always be learning and you should always be studying, not necessarily just for yourself, but really for the people that you care for in your practice. Okay, so now the debate always becomes, should you do 14 hours or 16 hours? I'm not necessarily going to get into that debate today. I've already answered that many times on the podcast, and I would really a 2-minute answer is not going to do it. I would love you to go back and listen to a full show. I have a full show on, there's so many shows on this, meaning should you skip breakfast? That's one show. You can check that out. Another one is 1293, the problem with only eating 2 meals per day. I talk about catabolism. So you can definitely start there. Okay, now let's move on though. So whether you fast 12 hours, 14 hours, or 16 hours really becomes an individual choice based on your time in your space right now. Meaning like if you're sick and not doing well and more catabolic, well, a longer fast is not going to be beneficial. But if you're someone that has robust health and you maybe have a little bit of body weight to lose and you have a strong metabolism and your hormones are good, your thyroid's good, your cortisol levels are not elevated in the morning, then yeah, you could fast potentially up to that 14, 16 hours per day. For me, the sweet spot is stopping eating somewhere around 6 o'clock at night and beginning eating somewhere around 7:30 or 8 a.m. So that's about 13 and a half to 14 hours. I've been doing that over the past few years, and it really, for me, is the best spot. Now, having said that, I do follow a health-based formula that I will talk about more in about 2 weeks from now. I fast once a week. I fast meaning like there's daily fasting, right? So there's daily fasting of 12 hours to up to 16 hours for most people. Some people fast longer. I certainly don't recommend it for the long term. What is good in the short term is not always good in the long term. That's for sure. well, we'll put it this way. We'll get back on track. I'm going to do a show in 2 weeks that will go over all of my fasting-based protocols. But once a week, I do a 24-hour fast. And I'll talk about that more in the future for the one-day reset diet. You can check out episode 1356, and you can do that as we talk about in the one-day reset diet, or you can do a water-based fast, totally up to you. But you're still eating each day, and again, that's by choice. You can stop dinner Sunday night and then have dinner again on Monday night, and that's totally your choice. That's how I do it, and it's easy because, again, having a family as well makes it super simple for me to come back from work that night. Monday's a super busy day, and then I have dinner with my family. Now, should you keep doing that, and should you could do the quarterly detox, which are 2 to 3 days of fasting, it can be a liquid fast, and it can be using the functional medicine detox protocols that we recommend. Should you be doing that? Well, let's go over the pros of fasting right now. So when you are fasting, you are giving your body time to clean house. That's the biggest thing. So 2 huge parts of fasting. The first is that you're allowing your body to drop into a deeper level of autophagy. And if you've never heard about autophagy before, you can simply go to stephencabral.com/podcast and type in auto, AUTO, phagy, PHAGY. Again, that's autophagy or autophagy, and it stands for autophagocytosis. And it's where basically phagocytes and it's not just phagocytes, but other white blood cells and parts of your immune system, natural killer cells, actually go in and they can kill cancer cells. They do this automatically. You don't have to think about it. They can eat up necrotic tissue, bacteria, viruses, anything inside of your body. So fasting is an absolutely fantastic way to boost autophagy. There's no doubt about it. So let's keep going with some of the pros. Now, when you are stressed or you are anxious, you certainly don't want to be eating either. Now, the problem is, what if you're never not stressed? What if you're never not anxious, to use a double negative? Well, you can't continue then to fast forever because your body again will become too catabolic. We'll talk about those in the cons in just a moment. But when you're fasting, you're allowing for the body to drop into autophagy and scavenge different types of bacteria and necrotic tissue that shouldn't be there in the body. Now, the other part is it's allowing for digestive rest. Whenever you fast, you're actually going to then divert more energy to other needed areas of the body. Because when you are eating, you're using a good amount of energy that has to be used to break down that food, which is why, again, if you're stressed, I can't recommend enough more cooked foods, smoothies, etc. If you go to an Ayurvedic clinic, it's almost always all juices, what would look like smoothie bowls, and it is cooked food, okay? So what they are doing is they are allowing you to heal. And what we would always do, again, even if, because I'm a student of medicine, and when I look back to the natural hygienists, those were basically before naturopathic doctors were around, that was the schools and philosophies of thought. You'd be giving people soups and fresh pressed vegetable juices or regular juices, super simple diet. Why? Because it did not take any energy from their body, because doctors knew that the energy needed to be used and diverted to rejuvenate in the body towards the immune system for helping to remove whatever shouldn't be there. And so you just don't want these heavy diets. Like a heavy meat diet is not going to be beneficial. Now in Ayurveda, they use meat. Believe it or not, for a lot of the types that were more of the vata-based state, they used, believe it or not, the juice from meat, or they would cook the meat inside of a broth and they would just give them then the broth. So I always try to stay as unbiased as possible. I give you what is the truth, and some people don't want to hear that, and some people do. What I would say is just always stay open to it. The truth is the truth. That doesn't necessarily mean that you have to do it, meaning that you don't have to follow that. I don't do that necessarily in my life, or the soups I do, when tired or fatigued. But you can say, okay, during this time, I'm going to make my digestion that much easier. And I'm simply going to eat easier to digest foods, cook foods. And then, maybe when I have that energy back, I can go back to a lot more of the raw foods that I was eating because they take more to process. But it's also why I said before that when you're dealing with an acute-based illness, like when I got sick for those 3 days or so in mid-January, right towards the end of January, I actually fasted for 3 days, like almost a complete fast for 3 days. And all I was doing was sleeping as much as I could and allowing my body to heal. Now, I recovered within about 3.5 days. And if I hadn't done that, Maybe it would have taken twice as long, maybe 3 times as long. I don't know. Maybe I would have relapsed. But what I did was I simply listened to my body. My body wasn't hungry, and so I didn't force feed it. And I allowed my body to fast. And then because I was fasting, and here's the big thing, people are always trying to push the body to its limit. And that is not a good idea. The body will compensate very well. But I see people out there trying to create personal best in their workouts after like a multi-day fast. Like, that's not how the human body is meant to work. Anything is possible in the short term, but not in the long term. And again, if we go back to the natural hygienists and back to Greek medicine and Ayurvedic, people were resting when fasting. People were taking it as easy as possible when fasting because now the body gets help on both sides. One, you're not going to be stressing it out from another factor. We'll get to that in just a moment. And the second is that if you are resting and fasting, well, now the body can use its energy in its innate knowledge of where it should go. That's the beauty of it. All right. So fasting allows downtime for your body. It allows energy to go to other parts of the body. You're also focused on your diet, which is a good thing because you're typically planning out your meals a bit more, and you're not eating when anxious. So really great benefits, I believe, in fasting during stressful times. We just don't want to overdo it, right? Here's how we can overdo it. The cons of fasting are when you fast, no doubt about it, is a stressor on the body, okay? So that is why we don't want to do longer fasts if your body is not capable right now. So when we do our seasonal detox every 12 weeks, if you haven't done one, now's a great time to do it. You can find out exactly how we do it at equilibriumnutrition.com/detox-course. That is a free functional medicine course on how to do a functional medicine detox. And then you can just choose whatever functional medicine detox you feel is a good fit for you. Now, here's the thing though. When you are doing a detox, if you are run down, if you are tired, if your body is weak, you can follow the days 3 through 7 protocol, which means you don't have to do the multi-day fast. Save that for when your body's a little bit stronger, but you can still get the benefits. And here's why. Fasting is no doubt about it a stress in the body. Now, that's not a bad thing. A hermetic stressor on the body, every once in a while, a larger one, makes the body stronger over time. That's why every once in a while, everything in the short term is a good idea. Causing massive stress in the body every single day, creating additional free radicals, not a great idea, right? It's just not a great idea. And I would love you to check out the show, it's episode 1279, on signs that your body is becoming too stressed, too catabolic, meaning that your muscle tissue, that your organ tissue, that your brain tissue, cells, everything is breaking down to a far greater degree because of oxidative-based stress. I did a whole show on that, episode 1279. You can check that out. Also, a downside to fasting can be dysregulated blood sugar, especially if you're someone that's used to snacking. So if you're used to either drinking alcohol, which can create hypoglycemia that next morning, or you're someone that snacks, it might really be up and down during the day. So you might end up with, again, a little bit more of fatigue and tired. It could make you more overwhelmed or anxious just from the state of being lower blood sugar and a little bit more exhausted. So what I share with people is that you have to know when to do a longer fast and when not. And what I would consider a longer fast is really anything over 12 hours. And really anything over, if you wait more than an hour or two after waking, you're getting into a little bit of a longer extended fast. Because when you wake up, there's a natural rise in cortisol upon waking. Somewhere between 6 and 8 a.m. is a normal time. Usually the sun's rising sometime within that time. The body is then going to the receptors in the eyes, the receptors on the skin itself, although less, will tell the body, okay, it's time to wake up. We're going to start to produce more cortisol. The body's already started to produce more thyroid around 4 a.m. Cortisol begins to rise a little bit at 4 a.m. as well, just doesn't hit its peak, its zenith, till about 6 to 8 a.m. And melatonin then subsequently begins to fall because melatonin and cortisol are in basically an inverse ratio. Spoke about that in my book, The Rain Barrel Effect, show the graphs of exactly, why some people have sleep issues, why people feel groggy in the morning. And again, it's a test that we help people with that stress hormones, mood, and metabolism test. And it just shows you, again, science-based, this is exactly what's going on in the body. So if, though, you're getting higher levels of cortisol in the morning, that's okay. It's all right, as long as, again, you don't have HPA axis or adrenal-based issues, and you're not also starting your morning stressed, right? That you're not stressed about work or sitting in traffic or getting the kids ready or whatever it might be. Because then if you're fasting on top of that, well, you're compounding stress on top of stress. Now it's the decision, well, is that okay, right? So that's an individual decision. For most Vata-based body types, most ectomorph-based body types, people with lower thyroid, people with hormonal issues, people with lower testosterone, it's not okay. Because what happens is it further exacerbates lower thyroid or high thyroid. It further exacerbates estrogen dominance, low testosterone, etc. So what I share with people is a approach to bioindividuality, allowing them to choose a 12-hour, 14-hour, or 16-hour fast. If you go longer than that, it really depends on the other stressors that you're inputting into your body. Are you stressed in life, in relationships, in career? Do you work out really hard? Do you have lower blood sugar in the morning? Any one of these factors could say, okay, well, maybe then I should not fast during this higher stress time. So what I did and what many people did during the seasonal detox was say, okay, yeah, instead of going like the 2.5 days or so just on a liquid-based fast, what I'm going to do is I'm going to fast during the day and then I'll have dinner at night. I actually ended up doing that all the way till the second night. And I decided with all of the travel I had and all of the extra work that I'm having to do and choosing to do right now, that I would break my fast at that time. And it felt right for me. I didn't have to feel guilty. I didn't have to feel bad. And I was happy with the results that I got and what I decided to do. So one of the reasons why I did the show is that I don't ever want you to feel like you have to do something because, well, this is what's stated, this is exactly what it's to do. You typically do want to do that if you're on a healing-based protocol. But we're in a time right now of uncertain times. A lot of people feel anxious. A lot of people feel stressed. So I want you to get the benefits of fasting, which I still believe, again, correct the issues you have. And most people, children included, should be doing a 12-hour fast every night. Meaning like, get your kids in bed early, get them their 10 plus hours of sleep. And well, then there you go. Don't eat an hour before bed or don't eat 2 hours before bed for the kids. And they can eat, half hour or so after waking up. So easy. I mean, again, everybody can do this. We really can. It's one of the absolute best things that you can do for your health is fasting. And then you just have to decide, is it going to be 12, 14, 16 hours based on your stress levels, based on your hormones? You can do it scientifically based on your blood sugar. And then every 12 weeks, are you ready to do that seasonal fast? I still want everyone to do the 12-week fast, or the 12-week detox. It's a liver detox. Now, you may not do the full 2.5 days of detoxing that we'll get more into in a couple weeks from now, but maybe you follow the days 3 through 7 plan that you still give your liver the support that it needs. And if you don't know what I'm talking about in terms of phase 1 and phase 2 detox, it doesn't have to be complicated. And I teach it absolutely for free at equilibriumnutrition.com/detox-course. And of course, if you ever have any questions, you ever have any issues, like I can't find the page, just ask at support@equilibriumnutrition.com or cabralsupportgroup.com. Remember, we're here to help. Let us know how we can help. Hopefully today's show was helpful. And if you ever want one on should you exercise if stressed out, you can also check out episode 1441. To make it a little bit easier today, head on over to stephencabral.com/1538. All the podcasts that I named on today's show will be at episode 1538. I will link those up for you. And again, as always, if this was helpful, please do feel free to share it with anyone you believe it could serve. Are you ready to heal yourself and then go on to heal others? If so, the Integrative Health Practitioner Institute can help you discover proven functional medicine protocols that blend the best of 7 different healing disciplines from around the world. I personally share with you the exact handouts and protocols I use in my private practice that enable people to get well, lose the weight, and live longer, stronger. I want to pass this information on to the next generation of health coaches, and that is exactly why I created IHP. We are the future of the health coaching industry, and the skills and knowledge you will learn will make you an in-demand certified health coach anywhere in the world. Although we have many medical professionals taking the IHP certifications, no experience is necessary, and half our members have no previous health certifications. At the Integrative Health Practitioner Institute, our motto is a health coach in every home. Our goal is that you take this knowledge and then share it with family, friends, loved ones, your community, or in a practice where you create a career you love and can be proud of. The global IHP community is filled with some of the most kind and caring people in the world, and we can't wait to welcome you into our world soon. For more information or to set up a discovery call with one of our IHP Health Coach graduates, simply head over to integrativehealthpractitioner.org.